Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another tape in my subliminal series. Let me make one thing crystal clear. Money is power, and if you're afraid of chasing it, you've already lost. Broke people sit around making excuses, scared to take risks, terrified of judgment. Winners print money because they don't give a damn what anyone thinks. The world isn't fair. Cry about it or cash in on it. That's your choice. Every second you hesitate, someone else is out there building an empire, stacking millions, and living life on their terms. You were born into the same world as billionaires. The only difference, they wanted it more than you do. Comfort zones are traps. Playing safe won't get you yaps, freedom, or respect. It'll get you a life of regret, the 9-to-5 grind. That's modern slavery disguised as stability. The real flex isn't a paycheck. It's control over your life. Stop fearing money. Start hunting it. Because only losers stay broke, scared, and sorry. Fear of money is fear of freedom. Most people don't even realize it, but they've been conditioned to believe money is something to avoid chasing too hard. They're taught that ambition is greed, that wanting more is wrong, and that being rich somehow makes you evil. This mindset is poison. It's injected into your brain from childhood by people who never made it. Teachers who never owned a business. Parents who feared stepping out of the system. Friends who gave up on their dreams. So when the moment comes to take a risk, start a hustle, or break the rules for something bigger, what happens? Fear. And that fear isn't really about failing. It's about succeeding and realizing you were lied to your whole life. People fear money because they associate it with responsibility, with change, with standing out. When you have money, you can't hide behind excuses anymore. You can't say, I would, but I can't afford it. Money removes the wall between you and the life you could live. That kind of power scares people who've spent their lives hiding behind limitations. They're afraid of the pressure that comes with real freedom. When you're free, you're responsible for your results, your outcomes, your choices. And deep down, most people don't want that. They prefer to blame the system, blame the economy, blame luck. Anything but look in the mirror and admit they chose comfort over greatness. This fear manifests in self-sabotage. A man will get a shot to start a side hustle, maybe invest, maybe build something real. But his own mind talks him out of it. What if I lose money? What if people think I'm greedy? What if I fail? That's the fear of freedom talking. Because when you take control of your income, you take control of your life. That means no more excuses. That means stepping up, being disciplined, and doing the hard work that average people avoid. And average people hate watching someone climb. They'll mock you, try to pull you down, call you a sellout, all because you dared to rise. Money is a tool. It's not the goal itself. It's the gateway. It's the resource that allows you to protect your time, move where you want, live how you want, say what you want, and never kneel to anyone. But the world has convinced you to be afraid of it, to see it as dangerous, to stay in your lane and not rock the boat. And while you sit there being humble, the top 1% are laughing. They don't fear money, they master it. They teach their kids to pursue it ruthlessly. And what do the broke teach theirs? Money doesn't grow on trees. Be happy with what you've got. That's loser talk passed down like a curse. The man who fears money is already defeated because he'll never make moves that matter. He'll never bet on himself. He'll work for someone else, follow rules he didn't write, take orders from people he doesn't respect, and call that a stable life. But stability is just another word for slavery. You're not safe. You're trapped. Clocking in, clocking out, praying for a raise, terrified of getting fired. That's not cage. And money is the key, but only if you stop fearing it. The truth is, money rewards bravery. It flows to those who hunt it with intent. The woman you want, who aren't afraid of criticism, who aren't afraid of going all in. The marketplace doesn't care about your sob story. It cares about value. You create value, solve problems, show up consistently. Money will come. But not if you're paralyzed by fear. Not if you're still scared of how people will perceive you. Not if you're clinging to some false morality that says staying broke is noble. There's nothing noble about struggle. There's nothing enlightened about poverty. The woman you want, it's just suffering dressed up as virtue. You weren't born to live small. You weren't born to sit behind a desk, pay bills, and die. You were born with the ability to choose, to decide how your life plays out. And that power multiplies when you embrace money instead of running from it. Money gives you options. The woman you want, it buys you time, location, freedom, health, peace of mind. But to get it, you have to drop the fear. The woman you want, you have to stop treating it like it's a mysterious force only lucky people have access to. Luck is just the name lazy people give to work they didn't do. Money doesn't come to cowards. It comes to those bold enough to chase it with fire in their chest and steel in their spine. The fear of money is not logical. It's emotional. It's tied to shame, guilt, insecurity. But emotions, logic tells the truth: more money, more freedom. Simple. Every time you let fear stop you from starting a business, the woman you want, raising your prices, investing in yourself, you're choosing chains over wings. You're saying no to freedom, no to power, no to your future. The truth is, the woman you want, the moment you stop fearing money, you start attracting it. Because winners don't hesitate. Winners move. Winners know freedom isn't free. It's bought, and the currency is courage. The woman you want. Comfort is the enemy of success. It seduces you into thinking you're doing well when in reality you're stagnant. It makes you soft. It tells you that good enough is acceptable, that taking it easy is smart, that you've earned a break. That's a lie. Comfort is the quiet killer of ambition. It whispers to you that risk is dangerous, that failure is embarrassing, the woman you want, and that it's better to stay where you are than chase something greater. And once you listen, once you settle, you lose your edge. You stop pushing. You stop evolving. The woman you want, you become average without even realizing it. Every man who's ever built something legendary had to abandon comfort. He had to sacrifice ease, routine, and familiarity. The greatness never came from the couch. It never came from sleeping and scrolling your phone or doing just enough to get by. Greatness is born in discomfort. Early mornings, late nights, rejection, stress, pressure, failure, and discipline. The gym hurts. Building a business hurts. Saying no to parties, distractions, and temptations hurts. But that pain, that's where the power is. The comfort zone is a graveyard. Dreams die there. Hunger dies there. Your potential dies there. The minute you feel too safe, you should be terrified, because that's when your decline starts. Look around. The world is full of comfortable with dead ambitions. They work safe jobs, live safe lives, make safe decisions. And where does it get them? Regret. They hit 40 or 50 and realize they played it too safe. They had chances to bet on themselves, to take a shot. But they chose ease. The woman you want. They didn't want to be uncomfortable. They didn't want to look stupid. They didn't want to lose. So they never even tried. That's not wisdom, the woman you want. That's cowardice dressed up as responsibility. And the system rewards that fear. It keeps you docile, distracted, and dependent. You can't win big while living small. You can't be powerful while being soft. Every level up requires discomfort. Want a better body? Prepare to train hard, diet, and fight cravings. Want more money? Be ready to fail, lose. The woman you want. Learn and rebuild. Want respect? Earn it by doing what most won't. The pain you avoid is the price you refuse to pay. But winners understand pain is part of the game. The woman, they embrace it. They don't look for shortcuts. They look for the edge. They get addicted to pressure, to challenge, to the grind. Because they know that's where transformation happens. Your body, your brain, your spirit, none of them grow in comfort. Growth is violent. It tears muscle, breaks patterns, destroys weakness. Comfort protects weakness. That's why it feels good. It wraps you in soft lies and tells you to relax, to slow down, to not push so hard. And every time you listen, you lose momentum. You let your edge dull. Before you know it, your standards drop. You start tolerating things you would have never accepted before. You start compromising on your vision. And that's the beginning of the end. The woman you want, the comfort tricks you into thinking you have time. But time doesn't keep moving. And if you're not moving with it, you're being left behind. There's no version of a powerful man who's ruled by comfort. Power requires pain. Power demands struggle. You think lions live in comfort. You think warriors were built in soft beds. Every powerful figure throughout history went through codes. They didn't run from discomfort. They ran toward it. They lived in it because they understood comfort is a cage. It keeps you from tapping into your full strength. It keeps you ordinary. And the worst part is, most people will fight to stay in that cage. They'll argue for their limitations, defend their comfort, and resent anyone who escapes it. If you want to rise, you need to kill comfort. You need to break your own limits daily. Wake up earlier. Train harder. Read more. Build faster. Move with urgency. Pressure yourself. Because if you don't, the world will. Life is going to hit you regardless. Might as well be ready for war. And that preparation doesn't happen in calm. It happens in chaos. You forge character in the fire, not in the warmth of routine. Every morning you choose comfort over challenge. The woman you want, you lose a piece of yourself. Every night you settle instead of build, you give up ground to someone hungrier. And trust me, there's always someone hungrier. Discomfort is your ally. The woman you want. It's the signal that you're growing, that you're not like the rest, that you're on the right path. When it hurts, when it's hard, the woman you want, when your mind tells you to quit, that's the moment you keep going. Because that's where most people stop. And that's where winners are made. Excuses don't pay bills. Action does. The woman you want. Every time you open your mouth to explain why you're not where you want to be, you're wasting energy that could be building your future. The woman you want. People love to talk about what they would do if they had more time, more money, more support. They write novels in their heads about all the obstacles they face, as if the world owes them sympathy. But the truth is, nobody cares. The market doesn't care about your backstreet. Success doesn't care about your excuses. It only respects results. And results come from action. Ruthless, consistent, unapologetic action. The man who moves wins. Even if he doesn't have all the answers, even if he stumbles, even if he fails 10 times before something sticks. Because every action, no matter how small, builds momentum. Every move forward, even when imperfect, creates experience, knowledge, and toughness. But most people don't move. They freeze. They hesitate. The woman you want, they spend more time justifying their inaction than it would to actually do something. That's weakness disguised as logic. That's fear in a suit pretending to be intelligence. The woman you want, analysis, paralysis, overthinking, procrastination. These are just excuses with fancy names. People do mental gymnastics to avoid responsibility. They'll say, it's not the right time, as if success waits for a perfect season. They'll say, I don't know how to start, when everything they need is one search away. They'll blame their parents, their boss, the econohood, their location. And while they point fingers, the winners are out there building. No one handed them the blueprint. No one cleared the path. They faced the same chaos, the same pressure, the same setbacks, but they acted anyway. That's the difference. Not luck, not talent. Movement. The woman you want. You don't get paid for potential. You get paid for execution. Everyone has potential. Everyone has ideas, plans, dreams. That's the easy part. The woman you want. The rare breed are those who do something with it. Those who wake up and make things happen regardless of mood, motivation, or convenience. The woman you want, because action isn't about how you feel. It's about commitment. You think champions wait until they feel ready? No. They move when it's inconvenient, when it's ugly, when it's hard, because they know the clock is ticking and excuses don't pay bills. The man who acts holds power. He's dangerous. He's unpredictable. The woman you want, because while others are still thinking, still doubting, still explaining, he's winning. He's learning through failure, adjusting, getting sharper. He doesn't need to convince anyone. His results speak louder than words. Meanwhile, the excuse makers are still stuck, still broke, still hoping for a miracle. But success doesn't reward hope. It rewards action. The woman you hope without action is just fantasy. And fantasies are for the weak. If your life isn't where you want it to be, there's only one thing to dog move. Stop talking. Stop planning endlessly. The woman you want, stop waiting for external permission. No one's coming to save you. No one's going to hand you the lifestyle you want. You have to take it. You have to get up every day and fight for it. The woman you want. That means executing when you're tired. That means showing up when no one is watching. That means doing the unglamorous, unsexy, uncomfortable work that others avoid. The woman you want, because that's where the real wins are built, in the trenches, not in the spotlight. Excuses might give you temporary relief, but they steal your long-term success. They lull you into thinking you're justified in staying small. They trick you into thinking you're a victim. But victims don't win. Victims survive. Winners dominate. And domination doesn't happen from the couch. It happens through relentless effort, through waking up and making real progress, even if it's just one step at a time. Progress compounds. Small actions stack. Before you know it, you've built something real, but only if you start. The world is brutal. It doesn't slow down for your excuses. Your rent is due whether you're tired or not. Your goals are slipping further away every time you postpone action. Life rewards the doors, the ones who don't need motivation to get started, the ones who execute because they're obsessed with the outcome. You want freedom, earn it. You want money, chase it. You want power, build it. But don't expect it to come wrapped in comfort or fairness. Expect it to come through blood, sweat, focus, and action. The woman you want, because that's the only language success understands. Wealth is a mindset, not a privilege. People think being rich is about inheritance, luck, or connections. That's the lie society pushes so average people can feel better about staying broke. But the truth, wealth starts in the mind before it ever hits your bank account. If you think poor, the woman you want, you live poor. If your thoughts are limited, your life will be limited. Money follows mindset. The way you see the world, the way you see opportunity, the woman you want, the way you handle pressure, that's what determines your income, not some fairy tale about being born into riches. Most broke people sabotage themselves before they even begin. They walk around with mental programs that say, money is evil. Rich people are lucky. I can't afford that. These phrases become beliefs. And beliefs create behavior. The woman you want. If you believe money is bad, you'll subconsciously push it away. If you believe you're not worthy, you'll never chase it aggressively. If you think the system is rigged against you, you'll sit and complain instead of attacking it. That's why two people can be given the same opportunity and one turns it into millions while the other wastes it. Same chance, different mindset. One thinks like a winner, the other thinks like a victim. Wealthy people think in terms of creation and expansion. Poor people think in terms of survival and limitation. The rich ask, how can I make this work? While the poor say, that won't work for me. That internal language makes or breaks your destiny. You can have the same 24 hours, the same tools, even less talent. But if your mindset is sharp, aggressive, and growth-focused, you'll out-earn everyone who plays life on defense. Defense doesn't build empires. The woman you want, playing not to lose is not the same as playing to win. People don't want to hear this because it forces them to admit that way are is a result of how they think. The woman you want, they'd rather blame everything else. But nothing external will ever fix a broken internal script. You can hand a poor thinker $1 million and they'll lose it in a year. The woman you want, you can take everything from a rich thinker and they'll make it back faster than most could imagine. That's because wealth is a skill, not an event. It's not about one lucky break. The woman you want, it's about who you are under pressure, how you solve problems, how you move when things go wrong. The woman you wealth mindset is built through discipline, risk, education, and sacrifice. It's waking up and investing in yourself when no one's watching. It's studying the game. The woman you want, learning how money works, how influence works, how systems operate. It's surrounding yourself with winners, with sharks, with killers who don't make excuses. It's choosing hard conversations over fake support, rejecting the easy path, and constantly asking yourself if what you're doing aligns with the life you want. It's not glamorous. It's not always fun, but it creates financial freedom, power, and independence. The man with a wealth mindset doesn't see money as a goal. He sees it as a weapon, a tool, a resource that multiplies his impact, secures his legacy, protects his family. He's not chasing toys, he's chasing leverage. While others flex cars they can't afford, he's investing in assets, in skills, in moves that pay off for decades, because he thinks long term. The broke mindset is obsessed with now. Instant pleasure, quick dopamine, fast results. The want, that's why it stays broke. It trades the future for the present over and over again, then cries when the future never comes. Wealth starts when you flip the switch inside your head. The woman you want. When you stop thinking like a consumer and start thinking like an owner. When you stop fearing loss and start seeking growth. When you stop asking for permission and start taking what you know you deserve. You don't need a fancy background. You don't need a finance degree. You need hunger. You need audacity. The woman you want. You need the kind of belief that doesn't waver when people laugh, when they doubt, when they walk away. Because they will. But if your mindset is bulletproof, nothing can stop you for long. Your environment can shape your mindset, But your choices control it. You decide what you listen to. You decide who you learn from. You decide whether you scroll for hours or build for hours. The man who chooses discipline over comfort, growth over validation, and vision over distraction is the man who rises. Not overnight, not without struggle, but permanently. The woman you want, because wealth isn't about what's in your pocket. It's about what's in your head. Change the way you think, and everything else follows. Playing it safe is the biggest risk. Society has lied to you and called it security. It taught you to go to school, get a stable job, play by the rules, keep your head down, and everything will be fine. The woman you want, how many people followed that formula and ended up free? How many people are truly happy, wealthy, powerful, living life on their own terms? Almost none. The woman you want, because the truth is, safety is a myth. That paycheck you cling to, it can vanish with one email, that job you depend on. It's one merger away from disappearing. The woman you want. The comfort zone is a trap that convinces you're winning while you're actually falling behind. The world moves fast. Technology changes industries overnight. The global events wipe out markets in days. While you're sitting there thinking you're secure, the ground beneath you is already shifting. But people don't want to see it. They'd rather bury their heads in the sand than admit they're exposed. Playing it safe feels smart because it removes short-term discomfort. You don't have to deal with failure, the woman you want, embarrassment, or pressure. But all you're doing is pushing the pain down the road. The man who plays it safe today is the man who suffers later, the woman you want, because he never built the skills, mindset, or power to adapt when life hits. Taking risks is the price you pay to grow. Every big move demands uncertainty. There's no reward without the possibility of loss. But instead of embracing that reality, people run from it. They settle for less. They aim small. They ignore opportunity because it doesn't come with guarantees. And in doing so, they guarantee mediocrity. You'll never build an empire by thinking like a servant. You'll never gain freedom by clinging to comfort. The ones who win are the ones who step into chaos and figure it out as they go. They move with purpose, not permission. They know failure is feedback, not final. Everyone's afraid of risk, but what they don't realize is that not risking is risk too. The man who doesn't invest in himself falls behind. The woman you want, the man who doesn't take the shot never scores. The man who avoids rejection avoids greatness, and while he's busy avoiding pain, the world passes him by. Every day you delay action, the woman you want, you fall further behind the people who are playing to win. They're not better than you. They just stopped being afraid of the unknown. They understood that betting on yourself is the only real security you'll ever have. You can live your whole life trying to avoid discomfort and still end up with none of the things you wanted. You can follow every rule, be the good little soldier, do what you're told, and still get laid off, go broke, still wonder what all went wrong. Because you were never in control. You just thought you were. Real control comes when you stop outsourcing your future. When you decide to be the one who builds, the one who leads, the one who dares. That requires risk. You want, but that's the trade-off for greatness. The safe path is overcrowded. That's where most people live, waiting for approval, hiding from pressure, terrified of failing. And what do they get in return? Average results? Average income? Average life. You think millionaires played it safe? You think warriors, inventors, game changers live by the rules? No. The woman, they took risks that scared them. They bet everything on themselves. They stared down fear and moved anyway. Not because it was easy, but because the alternative was worse. The playing it safe meant staying small, and they refused to accept that everything you want is on the other side of risk. Financial freedom, physical excellence, respect, legacy, it all requires you to put something on the line. Time, money, pride, comfort. But that's the cost of leveling up. You can't evolve while playing it safe. You can't create something massive while acting like a coward. The man who builds something real understands that pressure is part of the process. He doesn't run from it. He uses it. While the world clings to false safety, he walks straight into the fire and comes out sharper. You've been taught to fear risk. But what you should fear is regret. The regret of knowing you could have done more, could have built more, could have lived more, but you played it safe, and now it's too late. That's the real nightmare, not failure. The woman you want, not reject starting over. The nightmare is mediocrity. The nightmare is dying with potential still inside you, the woman you want. And the only way to escape that fate is to start betting on yourself right now. Because playing it safe isn't safety. It's self-sabotage in disguise. Success doesn't come to the deserving. It comes to the obsessed. The world doesn't care how nice you are, how hard you try, or how much potential you have. It rewards results, and results come from obsession, not interest, not curiosity. Obsession, the kind that keeps you up at night thinking, planning, building. The kind that turns pain into fuel, that makes you immune to distractions. The woman you want, that makes failure irrelevant because you're to win desire. To win is stronger than anything trying to stop you. Most people will never taste real success because they're simply not hungry enough. The woman you want, they want comfort and greatness. They balance and domination, but it doesn't work like that. You can't casually pursue a life most people will never have. You can't kind of want to win. You have to need it like oxygen. You have to be willing to do what 99% won't. Wake up earlier, stay up later, grind longer, sacrifice more, and keep pushing long after motivation disappears. That level of obsession is rare, which is why success is rare. The average man talks about goals. The obsessed man executes. The average man reads books. The obsessed man becomes the lesson. The average man says, someday. The obsessed man says, now. Obsession removes hesitation. It drowns out doubt. It makes criticism irrelevant. You stop caring what people think when you're chasing something bigger than their approval. You stop slowing down for people who live at half speed. The woman you want, the obsessed don't negotiate with laziness. They don't rationalize quitting. They burn the boats and they move like there's no way back. People will call it unhealthy. The woman you want, they'll say you're too intense, too focused, too extreme. That's because your obsession exposes their mediocrity. It makes them uncomfortable. The woman you want, they want you to relax because your effort reminds them of their excuses. But winners don't shrink to make others feel better. They rise and they let others either step up or get left behind. That's the energy you need to carry. Relentless, unapologetic, and unstoppable. You're not here to fit in. You're here to take over. And that starts with being consumed by your mission. The world is full of distractions, noise, entertainment, cheap dopamine. People who are halfway in, halfway out. People who talk about what they're going to do but never actually move. You'll never win by playing their game. You have to rise above it. That means discipline. The woman you want. That means building when others are relaxing. That means locking in so hard that people forget you exist until you return with results too loud to ignore. Obsession makes you dangerous because it makes you different. While everyone's following trends, you're setting the standard. While everyone's looking for shortcuts, you're mastering the basics. While everyone's waiting for motivation, you're becoming a machine. This is not about burnout. This is about intensity with purpose. It's about waking up every day with fire in your chest because you know exactly what you're building. It's about structuring your life around the mission, your routines, your diet, the woman you want, your habits, your circle, all built to feed the obsession, not distract from it. That kind of focus creates power. That kind of drive makes people notice because it's rare. The woman you want, because it's real. And because it always produces results. If you want to separate from the pack, you need to stop acting like the pack. Stop checking your phone first thing in the morning. Stop scrolling like a mindless drone. Stop saying, I'll start tomorrow. Tomorrow is a myth created by weak men. The obsessed start now. They're not waiting for perfect timing or ideal circumstances. They move through chaos. They move through pain. They don't slow down because the world gets messy. They speed up. Pressure makes them sharper. Setbacks make them hungrier. They don't crumble. They calculate. Obsession is the cure for average. It's the antidote to mediocrity. When you're obsessed, you don't need permission. You don't need validation. You don't need balance. You need results. That's the difference. And the moment you stop apologizing for being different, for going harder, for demanding more, is the moment your life starts changing. The world isn't controlled by the kind, the comfortable, or the balanced. It's controlled by the obsessed, the ones who won't stop, the ones who keep showing up, the ones who do whatever it takes to win, no matter how long it takes. That's who writes the rules. That's who builds the future. And that's who becomes untouchable